The days are longer, the calendar is filling up, and I want to feel as good as this beautiful summer weather. That's why I've been loving Groons. It's one daily pack of gummies that covers my greens, vitamins, and minerals, and even has 6 grams of prebiotic fiber. So I don't need to juggle a complicated wellness routine on top of everything else. They taste amazing. They're easy to toss in my bag on the go. Plus, they're vegan, gluten free, and HSA, FSA eligible for reimbursement. Save up to 52% off with promo code podcast at gruns.co. That's code podcast at gruns.co.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Remember the Game. It is my retro gaming podcast where every week a buddy of mine and I sit down and we geek out about the games we played back in the day. My name is Adam Blank. Thank you so much for listening to the show. And this week it is episode 382. And it's not just a prestigious Patreon poll-winning episode, but it is the game that tackled 29 other games and ran the gauntlet all the way from entry number 2 to winning the inaugural Remember the Game Royal Rumpoll back in May. ActRaiser for the SNES. I'm so excited for this episode. A, because it won the Rumpoll, and B, because, as I've said for years, this was probably the biggest hole in my SNES resume. You know, like, I've missed a few big SNES games, but I've always felt like this was the one that shows up on the most top 10, top 25, not really top 10s, but top 25, top 30 lists of best Super Nintendo games that I hadn't gotten around to playing, you know? And I don't know why. I tried it once a few years ago, and I thought that, like, the opening hack and slash part was okay, like the platforming section. And then the city building just didn't really click with me, and I walked away, and I didn't come back until now. As once it won the Royal Rumpoll, I took the time to look up the instruction manual, as I always recommend you do with these old games. I learned how the city building works. I learned how the game works. And, yeah, it's pretty solid. It's not the greatest game on the Super Nintendo, but it's pretty fucking solid. If you haven't played it, ActRaiser is split into two portions. Sometimes it's a side-scrolling action platformer where you're this, like, god person with a sword killing people and using magic, and sometimes it's a top-down city builder, and you play as a god or a god-esque person. If someone asks you if you're a god, you say yes. That's come back to kill monsters and rebuild civilization. And I think what's really interesting about ActRaiser is that, like, both the action platforming aspect of the game and the city building aspect of the game are done better in many other titles, including games on the SNES. But I don't know if I've ever played one that can bind the two like this. You know, well, maybe Dark Cloud. Dark Cloud was like action and then coming out and building a city. And it feels like it shouldn't work. It feels like a combination that shouldn't work, but it does. It fucking does, you know? And speaking of Dark Cloud, my guest this week was my guest for the Dark Cloud episode, and that is one of our power-hungry Discord mods and co-hosts of the Retrotopia podcast. We know him as Captain N. And I think we're both on a pretty similar wavelength for this episode as far as ActRaiser goes. Is it the best game on the SNES? Nah. But is it a really solid way to just waste a few hours? Absolutely. And we're going to get into all that in just a couple of minutes, because speaking of wasting a few hours, it's time for another edition of the Remember the Game infamous intro. Dun, 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 dun! And if you're new to the podcast, welcome aboard. And consider this your warning, our intros are kind of long. They're not that long, but they are kind of long. But they're fun. We talk video games and stuff. We really enjoy doing them. And you won't need to destroy a village with lightning to get past them. All you want to do if you want to get by it is just take the little slider on your phone, take it to the 30-minute mark. You'll be into ActRaiser talk. No fuss, no muss. No need to get angry. Or listen to the whole thing. That's what I recommend, because we really do talk video games and stuff. It's a lot of fun. This part, not quite as fun, but just indulge me for a minute. I got to do my plugs. It's how I keep my bills on. As you know, very important. We have a Patreon, and it's not one of those Patreons where we don't offer anything. We just beg you to give us money, Dark Side Phil style. We actually give you a lot. Not a lot, we give you so much. It's one of the greatest deals. I do think the Mass Effect Legendary Edition on sale for like $6, $7, $8 is the greatest deal in the history of video games, but I think our Patreon's like top 5 because our Patreon starts at as little as $3 a month. And in exchange for that $3 a month, you get extra podcasts every single week. I publish a podcast Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Most weeks. Occasionally I miss one if I'm away on holidays. Usually it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. None of them have any ads in them. You can start listening for as little as $3 a month. And you can also write into the podcast. You can vote on the games we cover. We've got a 1,000+ member Discord that you can join. And you'll get instant access to literally hundreds and hundreds of archive bonus podcasts the second you sign up, including all 382 episodes of Remember the Game, ad-free with timestamps. I also stream most days from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain Time, Monday through Friday for our patrons. You can check those out as well. Tons and tons of content over there if you don't hate the sound of my annoying voice. And on top of all of that, you get a shout out. I get to hear me mispronounce your name like I might do to one of these people. I think I'm going to nail most of these this week. But a huge thank you to our newest patrons, Sir Blackburn, a bag of Cool Ranch Doritos, great fucking Doritos, Fuming Crown, Harrison Plowright. Harrison, if that really is your last name, that's one of the greatest last names I've ever heard in my life. Hello, I'm Mr. Plowright. I'm Mr. Blank. I would fucking kill to be Mr. Plowright. Sir B, no relation to Sir Blackburn, I don't think, unless the same person signed up twice. Stereo Pixel, Roleza, that's probably the one I fucked up, and Merciful Poseidon. Thank you all so much for the support, and welcome to Remember the Game Industries. You can find all that information at patreon.com/rememberthegame. There's some free episodes over there for you to try out. Subscriptions start at $3 a month. If you sign up for a full year, we'll give you the 12th month on the house, and we donate some of that money every December to both the Stollery Children's Hospital and the ALS Society because it makes me feel like less of a degenerate when it comes to what I contribute to society as a whole. That's enough blowing myself. Let's blow some of you by blowing in some cartridges. It is our opening segment here on the show. I read a few comments and questions from our patrons, usually gaming related, but not always. And we call this segment Blowing in the Cartridge.
He blows all right. He blows big time.
That's it, honey. Get into the spirit.
Let's blow. Our first blower this week is Gil, who says, Adam, if you had to I can't do Gil. If you had to design a new Mega Man game surrounding Rush as the main character, how would you make it? That's actually a fascinating idea. I thought about that because I was like, my first thought was it would have to be a different kind of Mega Man game. Like it'd be something like Rush. They'd make some crappy, like, it'd be like a fucking puzzle game spin-off or some shitty mobile game where you're just digging up treasure as Rush, looking for it and stuff. But I actually think it'd be really cool if they had to, like, I don't know, Mega Man was broken or stolen or kidnapped or fucking sleeping or hungover or something, and Rush had to save the day for a change, and they like mounted the Mega Buster into his mouth, and he actually just had his like Rush Jet, Rush Coil, Rush Submarine abilities that he could use for like the whole game, and you had to fight like 8 animal robot masters, and as you kill them, you get like different abilities and different weapons and stuff that Rush could use instead. I know it's not as original as a spin-off title, but I guarantee you it would be better than fucking 99% of the crappy spin-offs they could do. So I think that would actually be a really fucking cool idea, man. That'd be awesome. Yeah, go Rush. I love Rush. He's such a great dog. I love my dog, Millie. She's the greatest. And I loved my dog, Molly. And I think we're getting another dog soon, and I'm going to love that dog as well. But not once, not twice, but thrice, I've pushed Shaylee to name our dog Rush. And not once, not twice, but thrice, she has told me no. And I don't want y'all to hate her for it, but I do want you to just, lose an ounce of respect for her for it. That's all. Master Boyd said, what do you think the transition into the PlayStation 6 generation is going to look like? Last time there were lots of games like God of War Ragnarok and Horizon Forbidden West that were released for both PS4 and PS5. Easing into the next generation makes sense because there's such a big player base for the previous console, but the Switch 2 seems to have taken a different approach. All their big games have just been Switch 2 exclusive right from the jump. Mario Kart, Donkey Kong Bonanza, etc. And that's probably a big reason why the Switch 2 is selling well. Seeing how this has worked for Nintendo, do you think Sony and I guess Xbox will force gamers to buy their new console by making their flagship titles next-gen exclusive, or do you think they'll play it safe again and release games for old-gen and new-gen for the first few years? It's a good question, Boyd, and I'm not an expert by any stretch of the imagination. I do have several episodes of experience, which apparently makes me an expert. Shout out to anyone that gets that reference. Nod Simpsons reference. That said, though, I think the big difference is the Switch was the Switch was arguably underpowered at launch. And so, by the time the Switch 2 dropped, the Switch was, I love my Nintendo Switch, but that thing was like, that thing was fucking way behind. I don't think like Mario Kart World, Donkey Kong Bonanza, Pokemon Pokepia, etc. I don't think that one's playing on Switch 1. I don't think a lot of the games that are coming out for the Switch 2 could have played on the Switch 1. I think if Nintendo, if they could, I think Nintendo would have. Because you got to remember, right? Like Twilight Princess dropped on both GameCube and the Wii. Breath of the Wild dropped on both the Wii U and the Switch. Like, if Nintendo can get away with dropping a game on 2 consoles and getting more sales from their previous gen owners, they're going to. I just don't think they could get away with it with the Switch 2 because I think the Switch to the Switch 2 leap as far as like what's under the hood was substantially bigger than the jump from the PS4 to the PS5 or the Xbox One to the Xbox Series everything's. So I think that's why we see Nintendo going that route. Listen, if the PS6 drops, say, I think most people are assuming the PS6 is coming like late 2028. That's what I'm thinking. If the PS6 drops in late 2028, I'm not convinced we need it yet. Like, I get why they're going to do it, and like, I'm going to buy it because I'm out of part of the problem blank, but I don't know if we need it yet. And so I think the gap, like, I would be quite shocked if for the first couple of years of the PlayStation 6 and whatever the next Xbox consoles generation are, if their games aren't dropping on the PS5 and Xbox Series X as well. Because you're right. When you've got 100 million PS5 owners and like 27 Xbox Series X owners, of which I am one of, you might as well sell your game to them as well. And I think they probably will be able to run the games. I think the Switch just couldn't run Switch 2 games. I think there was a bigger gap there. So that being said, I hope that they don't. I think that was one of the problems with this generation was they hung around too long supporting, especially PlayStation with the PS4. I think they took too long to start going next-gen exclusive, and I hope they don't take half as long this time. I understand for those of you that are still on the last-gen hardware, it's nice that you can keep playing modern games, but my argument has always been, as someone that, you know, drops the sizable price tag to get a modern-gen console, like PS5 or a PS6 someday, I want games that prove to me that, like, hey, this was worth the investment, you know? Like, an example is I love wrestling games, and let's just say, for argument's sake, WWE, I don't know if it'll be able to, but let's just say the first wrestling game that comes out on PS6 can handle 12 wrestlers on the screen instead of 8. Like, I'm just, as an example. But they have to hold it back to 8 on screen so they can release it for PS5 as well. That's where I'm like, no, like, fuck off. I bought the next console. Give me games that'll work on the next console. So I think they'll probably support the PS5 longer than I would like them to, frankly. There you go. Max Renault says, hello, Adam. I just want to know how you deal with hateful or threatful comments. Recently, I had the bright idea to comment on a Facebook post about physical media, thinking I could ignite a healthy discussion. That was your first mistake. I didn't expect the hate I would receive, and it got bad to a point even my wife received hateful messages. It seriously just ruined my mood for a few days and made me question dropping games altogether just to not be part of this toxicity. Has anything similar happened to you, and if so, how did it affect you and how did you deal with it? Love your show and wishing you all the best, my friend. Oh, yeah. Buddy, I go through phases, man. There's times where I'm pretty good at ignoring the hateful comments, and I have gotten, I think, okay, so when PlayStation announced that they were going all digital, I did make a statement on my social media just saying that, like, personally, I don't really care. And we've done this dance so many episodes over. By chance you don't know, I'm not happy about it. I don't think it's a good thing. I'm not celebrating it. If I had a choice, I'd make physical games as well. But I bought my games digital before. I'm going to buy my games digital moving forward. And yeah, they're probably going to cost more, but I love my video games. It's the hobby I want to spend my money on. So my mentality is like, I don't care. I'm at a part of the problem blank. I'm going to keep buying them. I issued my statement. A lot of people were nice. Some people were not. I had one person say, if you don't care about physical video games, why should we care about somebody in your family dying of ALS? When I did my ALS fundraiser a few months ago. So that person set me off. Like, that fucking got under my skin. That triggered me. I blocked them. I told them to go fuck themselves. I canceled their Patreon and kicked them out of my community. That one fucking pissed me off. I'm trying my best to get better at, I just don't read the comments as much as I used to. Like, I've deleted Twitter on my phone. I've deleted Facebook on my phone. I still have Instagram only because it's so much more of a hassle to post from your computer. So I only check my Twitter, my Facebook when I'm on my computer now. I don't have them on my phone. I've tried to stop reading the Spotify comments. I gotta say, there's a few of you listening to this probably right now. I see you comment on Spotify quite often, but you always comment criticizing. And like, I don't care. The engagement helps the show, so criticize away. But I want to just be like, why do you listen? Like, you clearly hate the show. Why do you keep downloading? Keep downloading. I get paid every download. Keep downloading. But I just don't get it. I'm really trying to take like the Keanu Reeves approach. I don't know if he actually was the one that said it, but I've seen it credited to him. He had a quote where it was something like, I've hit a point in life where no matter what somebody says, I'm just like, you're right. I'm not going to argue. You're right. Have a good time. And I move on. And that's where I'm trying to get now. At the end of the day, who asked me this? Max? Yeah, Max. At the end of the day, buddy, 99.9% of people would never say shit to your face that they would say online. So like, I'm like, you know what? If you don't have the balls to say it to my face, why do I give a fuck what you have to say? And that's not me trying to sound tough, because I'm not a tough guy at all. But like, I've had people be like, you talk a big game from behind the computer. And I'm like, motherfucker, I'm a stand-up comedian, or I was. I would post where I'll be on stage, when I'll be on stage. I'll be up there by myself in a big bright spotlight. You can come to my show and be in a dark room and say anything you fucking want to me. Shut your mouth. Like, I'm the pussy. Eat my ass, GC freak. So you gotta just, I don't know. I have good days and bad with it, but just try to ignore them. Just remember, like, people are fucking douchebags. That's what it is, Max. People are fucking losers. People are fucking losers. And like, and what sucks about it is the 99.9% of comments that are nice and positive or constructive, or at least like intelligence, not the word, but just like someone's willing to have a conversation with you, they all get drowned out because of that one guy that just shits his pants in the elevator, you know? That's who the negatives are. They're the people that shit their pants in the elevator. Jack Morash says, hey, Adam, after blasting through a bunch of expansion pass episodes, I've heard you talk about your love of Roller Coaster Tycoon and your want of a modern version, and I'm wondering if you've ever played Planet Coaster. If I remember right, it has some of the same people from Roller Coaster Tycoon behind it. You know, I haven't. I've downloaded it off Game Pass before. I think the second one's on Game Pass now. I've downloaded it many times, but never fired it up. I've had lots of people tell me there has yet to be a park builder as good as the OG Roller Coaster Tycoon. I've heard a lot about, what's it called? The Jurassic Park ones. Evolution, I think. I've heard a lot of good things about them, and I've downloaded them as well and still not fired them up. At this point, half of the reason I haven't fired them up is because I'm like, I just don't know if I need the time sink of getting hooked on another, like, amusement park. I love those types of games, like park builders. I fucking adore those types of games, but they can just take over your fucking life, boy. So I haven't fired one up in quite a long time. Let me know, listeners. Is Planet Coaster worthy of the prestigious Roller Coaster Tycoon title? Because I fucking love me some classic Roller Coaster Tycoon, I'll tell you what. Stereo Pixel says, I've been playing a lot of virtual reality since the start of the year using the Oculus Meta Quest. I'm really enjoying it. I don't get motion sickness, so it's a niche but great experience. Have you had any time playing on any VR devices yourself? And if you have played the Meta Quest, do you think we'll eventually get one that has the graphics as good as the PS5 and Xbox? To answer the second question first, I do think eventually. I don't think Ready Player One is insane, man. I think, like, if you haven't read Ready Player One, basically everybody in the future lives in VR. And I think that's probably where we end up. Like, in another 40, 50 years, maybe sooner, I think we would probably all do live in VR. As far as have I played it, you know what? I've never played virtual reality. I've never used a Meta Oculus Octopus Quest thing. I've never used a PS4 VR or PS5 VR. I'm not particularly interested in them. You know, like, I think everybody knows, like, I have some visual impairments in my right eye, so I don't have very good depth perception. I do get motion sick a lot. If I'm being honest, dude, like, I need to try one before I would ever consider plunking down the cash for one. And I'm not a hardcore germ freak, but I don't want to put the one that's on at, like, the West Edmonton Mall on my face. Like, I'm like, it's been on a lot of disgusting faces, eye crusties and shit. I don't want it on my face. So if I ever end up, like, going to somebody's house where they have a VR and it's someone that I think is relatively clean, maybe I would try it. Or if something goes on, I think if the PSVR 2, for example, would probably have to hit 300 Canadian before I'd consider rolling the dice. Probably cheaper, probably 250 Canadian. And I just don't know if that ever happens. So I don't like motion controls. I get motion sick and I don't have good depth perception at all. I don't know how much VR would be for me. But I do think eventually that's the way gaming goes. And I do think eventually graphics will be on par, yeah. Jameer Williams says, "What's up, Adam? Got a gaming question. I know you a Nintendo stan, dude. I fucking just found out. My nephew Ben, who's in like his early 20s, just taught me like a week ago that if you say you're a stan of something, it's like a reference to the Eminem song. And I was like, I love that song, but I had never heard that before. So unless that was a typo, and I don't think it was, because those letters aren't even close to yeah, wow. All right, I learned. I know you're a Nintendo stan, but man, what would push you to say I'm done with said platform? Nintendo, Xbox, PlayStation. What would be your I'm done? I think honestly with PlayStation, it's got to be something dramatic, like they just dry up with console exclusives to stop creating games like Spider-Man or God of War, etc. You know what? Like, I don't know at this point. There was a time in the earliest days of Remember the Game, if you were listening, I think I was just on Switch. I think I'd sold my PlayStation and Xbox, and I was just on Switch. Not because PlayStation or Xbox did anything wrong, but I was trying to pull back on the number of games I was playing. And then I made it my job, and now I fucking play everything. And I just love video games. Like, it's the number one hobby I want to spend my money on. It's the thing I spend the most of my time on. I just don't know what PlayStation, Xbox, or Nintendo could do at this point to get me to stop buying their systems. Unless they price me out. And like, you got to get up into $1,200, $1,300, $1,400. Then maybe I'm thinking Nintendo. I'm a Nintendo fanboy. I'm always going to buy the new system. PlayStation. I buy PlayStation games for PlayStation exclusives. And as much as I prefer Xbox to PlayStation, if I was only going to buy one of those consoles in the next generation, I'm buying PlayStation because they have better games. They have better games. But I'm probably buying all three. I don't know what they could. The only way I think one of those companies could lose me as a customer at this point would be if they went 100% VR or something like that. Then I'd probably be done. But otherwise, I'm probably I just don't think it's just the number one thing I want to do. You know, like it's just what I want to spend my money on. I would give up other hobbies to support my video game hobby. I'd stop building Lego, or that's really the only other hobby. I don't know if I'd stop. I'd probably stop playing poker if I had to just play video games. That's just the thing I want to do. So I don't know what they could do other than going to VR. Or maybe like some stupid motion control gimmick like the Wii again. I don't think there's anything else they could do. We should speed this up. This has been long. Who cares? It's my show. I'll go as long as I fucking want. Skeleton Torment says, I recently listened to your maybe last Festivus episode, and I need to air a gaming grievance. Why the fuck did developers follow up the amazing NES TMNT with beat-em-ups for the past 30 years? It takes 2 brain cells to realize a remake of the first game would be gold. Can you even imagine a Metroidvania based on TMNT 1? I agree. Listen, I think turtle beat-em-ups have a place because I think there are very few franchises that lend themselves to the beat-em-up formula better than Ninja Turtles, like superheroes in general, I guess. But Ninja Turtles lend themselves to that formula so well. And I love Turtles 2, the arcade game, and I love Turtles 3, the Manhattan Project, and I love Turtles in Time. But I agree, dude. I've said many times, well, you know, if you go back and I think Shredder's Revenge has probably surpassed the original NES TMNT as my favorite Turtles game. But Turtles 1 for the NES is my like very close second. I love how ambitious that. I know everyone says how hard it is, and it is hard, but I love how ambitious that game is. And I fucking bro, I hear you. I hear you. I'm begging them to make another game that's not just a fucking beat 'em up. And like, hopefully the last Ronin is good. But I want Metroidvania or something. Be fucking insane. If you haven't played it, there is a Metroidvania on the Game Boy. Turtles 3 Radical Rescue, I think. It's part of the Cowabunga collection. It's very, very tough, but it's a great concept. I'd love to see them take another crack at that. Really fun game. Jason Hosh says, hey, Adam, I know with your busy gaming schedule that massive open world games have to take a bit of a back seat. With that said, I'm wondering if you have any interest in or have looked into Crimson Desert. I do have interest, have looked into it, but haven't played it. I am interested in Crimson Desert because I think it looks really cool. But like, you're right. Open world games are like the bane of my existence because they're just so fucking big. And I'm working on Cyberpunk still right now. And I'm working on Oblivion for an episode of the show right now. And I want to get to Fallout New Vegas and or Fallout 3 once I'm done at least one of them for upcoming episodes of the show. I want to get to the Red Dead series. GTA 6 isn't far away. So like, if I'm being realistic, I don't know if I ever find time to play Crimson Desert. But for all of you Crimson junkies out there, I am interested. It's nothing more than a time thing. It's not you, it's me. It's a time thing. Finally, before we move on, it's letter time. It's letter time. Jiggy Wampus says, Dear Mr. Blank, I know in the past you've expressed your opinion that subscription models were the future of gaming. With Xbox's recent dumpster fire, do you still believe this is the case? I think it's a wonderful deal for the customer, but it seems like it is just not profitable enough to be sustainable, especially for AAA games developed with a big budget. Yeah, I am kind of 180ing on the, like, I agree with you that I still like, I know people like owning their games, and that's great. I personally have zero issue. If tomorrow, like, a Switch flipped and Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox, and even PC, everybody went to just subscription models to play your games, I would be okay with that. I know that's probably not a popular opinion, but like all my music is on subscription models. I cut cable and all my TV is on subscription models now. All my movies I watch are on subscription models. I love Game Pass. I like PS Plus, but I don't think they offer as much. I'm a huge supporter of Nintendo Switch Online. I like subscription models. I like the idea of just you pay an X fixed amount every month and the games you want to play are just there. Obviously, there's a lot to it. There's a lot more to it than that. Whether or not the games leave the service, do they leave the service? Are they profitable, etc.? And I hear you. But as a consumer, from purely a consumer standpoint, I am pro subscription model, and I would love it if every game was like that. That being said, I do agree. I hope someday we get like a tell-all book about Game Pass where they talk about just how it hasn't worked or how it is working or how it could have worked or what their vision was. I want to know more numbers because it doesn't appear to be working. And now I'm not convinced that the day comes where they don't drop it. But I hope as a consumer that's not the case because I love Game Pass. Like if the difference is they stop making games or I keep my subscription model, then obviously drop the subscription model. But I'm just not convinced they work now. I think game budgets are just getting too big. I think they work better for classic titles. Like I think PlayStation, well, I don't love the offerings on premium. I think PS Plus Extra is a pretty good value. And I like the way that they add games like a year, 18 months after they've been selling and they're kind of sold out and everyone that wanted to play them was playing them and used copies are everywhere. Then they add them to the service. I think that's probably the most likely way they go, but I'm not convinced that we ever just get an all subscription service. Well, there was a time where I thought that's where we're going to go. Now I'm not so convinced, unless it ends up being streaming, like, which could end up being the future of gaming in 20, 30 years, that we're just streaming everything. Then maybe subscriptions, maybe. So, Jesus. All right, we're at 26 minutes. I always tell people we're at 30 minutes, we'll get to the game. Fuck. People in the fucking comments are going to lose their shit. But as we said, Max, we'll fuck them. Fuck every single one of them. Let's switch things up and get to our our Smash It segment. The official game show, Remember the Game Industries. Play one, remake one, erase one. Just to extend the length of the intro a little bit more and rattle some cages. Yeah. And a huge thank you to Classic Concentration from the NES for unknowingly providing us with the theme music of the show. The rules are simple. Every week I give our Patreons 3 retro video games. They can play one as it was released, remake one as a modern game, and the third is erased from time forever. As always, there are no wrong answers, but there is a right one. We'll get to that in just a minute. This week we're talking ActRaiser, so I went with 3 additional glaring holes in my SNES resume, and that are Sunset Riders, Terranigma, and Illusion of, is it Gaia or Gaia? Looks Gaia. I'm going to go Gaia. Could be Gaia. I'm going to go Gaia. Anyways, 31% of you said you play Sunset Riders, play Illusion of Gaia, and erase Terranigma. Let's see what a few of you had to say here, and then I'll tell you what the right answer was. Justin Bailey says, I'll play Sunset Riders because it's perfect. I'm remaking Illusion of Gaia so more people can play this amazing RPG. The SNES RPG era is unbeatable. We were feasting, which leaves Terranigma headed for the scrap pile. I mean, I guess like if the problem is, like, the thing is, if you're playing Sunset Riders, then it's like, yeah, you are scrapping an RPG, but it's like there's so many RPGs. We did an expansion pass on it a couple years ago. What had the better library, the SNES or the PS1? And there was no genre they battled with harder than our JRPGs. It was a crazy era, man. Crazy era. Josh Gould said, Terranigma has always been sort of a holy grail for me, so I'm going to play it as it is. Illusion of Gaia is one of my favorite games, so a remake of that could be fun just for a fresh take on something familiar. That leaves Sunset Riders to be erased. It was never on my radar. Sorry, not sorry. Clearly an RPG nerd. Force Ghost Goose says, play... Oh, Illusion of Gaia. I was like, what the fuck is that? Illusion of Gaia. It isn't great, but it's good enough. Erase Terranigma. I would remake it, but it's up against Sunset Riders, and I need me some more Rooty Tooty Cowboy Shooty. They can make a whole Red Dead style game out of Sunset Riders. I agree, but I am going to ask you respectfully, Force Ghost Goose, to never say Rudy Tooty Cowboy Shooty around here again. Double seeking probation next time. Not this time, but next time. I'm a Robot says, this is a tough one for me. I have the most attachment to Sunset Riders, so I'd remake it with a pixel remaster and maybe touch down the difficulty a smidge, as the last few bosses were rough. I would play the game that originally never saw a North American/US release in Terranigma, since it was always one of the games I would hear and read about how great it was. I believe I played a version, but it was just briefly in an emulation. Then I would erase Illusion of Gaia. I'm not the biggest RPG fan, and there's a slew of RPGs, both A and J, that I would rather play and beat than this one. I feel that same way. I literally feel the exact same way about Illusion of Gaia, other than I've never played it, but I'm just like, there are other RPGs I'm more interested in. I agree with that. Merciful Poseidon says, I've never played any of these, so I'm going by assumptions. Gaia looks like a forgotten RPG that probably needs some modern love. Sunset Riders looks like an old school yeehaw cowboys, and we already have Red Dead, so we'll just play with the retro cowboys. And that sadly leaves Magical Blue Castlevania to be deleted. I like the logic of Magical Blue Castlevania. That, because once I read it, I couldn't unsee it. That's what got you on the episode. Magical was your blue Castlevania comment. I'm going with 11% of you this week, including Logan Johncheck, who says, play Sunset Riders as it's a simple yet fun shooter, remake Terranigma as it's a fun and unique game but has some wrinkles due to its age, and erase Illusion of Gaia as Terranigma is just plain better. Hot take, maybe. I haven't played either one. Maybe it is. Same order for me. I'm playing Sunset Riders, A, because it looks awesome, and B, because now that I'm done ActRaiser, personally, I feel Sunset Riders has become the biggest hole in my SNES resume. I gotta play this I have been getting recommended this game for years. So that's next up. That's the next big hole I need to fill. Sunset Riders. And then I was like, I could go either way on the other two, but after looking up footage of both, Terranigma interests me more. So I'm going to remake Terranigma, quality of life improvements, maybe go 2D HD, modern release so that I can play it. And I'm going to erase Illusion of Gaia. I hate erasing games I haven't played, but I haven't played any of these three. And while I'm sure it's fine, it's the one of the three that I'm the least interested in, quite frankly. So thank you, everybody, for playing along as always. What have I been playing? And then we're getting into ActRaiser. I've been playing ActRaiser, which I'm about to tell you about. I've been playing Cyberpunk, still chipping away. Someday that review is going to happen. I've been playing Mega Man 5, which will be the next episode of Remember the Game. And then on our Patreon streams, I've been flipping between South Park: The Fractured Butthole, which is going to get an episode eventually too. I forgot how great that game is. And a couple of Super Mario World ROM hacks, which have been a lot of fun, man. A lot of fun. I got to start streaming some more ROM hacks on Twitch as well. Good fucking times. Anyway, there you go. That's what I've been playing. We'll pause here. I need a drink of water. We'll let a sponsor in. They'll peddle their wares. And when we get back, it's finally time to talk. We've waited like 382 episodes. You can wait another 90 seconds. All right. Remember the Game will return after these messages.
Introducing the next generation from Nintendo. New Super Mario World. Created especially for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. It's a bit more exciting, a bit more challenging, a bit more graphic, a bit more colorful, a bit more realistic, a bit more levels, a bit more secret, a bit more enemies, a bit more friends, a bit more sound, a bit hotter, a bit cooler, a bit weird, a bit more revolutionary, a bit more Mario, a bit more of what you want. It's 16-bit, and it's yours only if you get new Super Nintendo. Now you're playing with power, superpower.
This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. We talk about mental health more openly now, but asking for help can still feel hard, and research confirms that. BetterHelp's 2026 State of Stigma report surveyed 2,000 Americans and revealed that 85% of Americans believe getting support is wise, yet 74% say society discourages people from doing so. We've all said to someone, hey, if you need to talk to somebody, do it. I say it all the time. But how often do we actually encourage the people we care about to look into therapy? Talking to a friend over coffee is great, no question. But I didn't realize just how impactful a therapist could be until I finally talked to one myself. BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform with over 30,000 therapists on their team, all fully licensed in the United States. You just fill out a brief questionnaire letting them know what's on your mind, and BetterHelp will match you with a therapist that best suits your needs. And if it's not a fit, you can switch therapists anytime. Don't let stigma stand in the way of support. Start therapy with BetterHelp. Sign up and get 10% off at betterhelp.com/rememberthegame. That's betterhelp.com/rememberthegame. All right, let's talk some ActRaiser. As always, I'd like to let you nerds sound off on the game we're covering before my guest and I hog the microphone. Let's rip through some of your comments here. Adam, it's your turn. Says, this is a great SNES title. I don't know if underrated is the general consensus, but it is underrated in my circle. As much as I wanted to love the remake, it didn't keep me hooked like the OG did. I don't even remember now, but something about the city building wasn't as fun and it felt like a chore. I need to give it another shot. I need to check out this remake now. I actually say that on this episode. I think I need to check out this remake. See what the fuck is going on here. I'm intrigued now. Vic to the Face said, this is still one of my absolute favorite games on the SNES. Though it gets its praise, I feel like it's still hugely underrated. The sim parts were so much fun to rebuild the towns while fighting baddies. The side-scrolling levels to cleanse the land were great too, although the controls could admittedly be better. But the one thing that never gets mentioned enough is the soundtrack. The music in this game is top tier, from the intro music that builds up when you land from the skies, the pumped-up action level music, the calm and serene town music, the final level music rocks too. God, such a fun little game. I do like the music, Vic. I will say the town building music, we talk about it in the show. Town building music, not so much. We talk about that in the show. Skeletor says, ActRaiser is a very unique game which brings two different, almost opposite gaming genres together in one game, and it worked. It introduced many gamers to a genre they may not have thought they liked. Maybe each part could be considered simpler than other games of the genre, but I think that was needed to allow gamers to enjoy something they didn't know they would. It's an interesting take, because we talk about how like they both are done better, but you're right. Maybe if they were too complex, it would have scared two genres off. Maybe you're right. You son of a bitch, why? Tell me why. Says, I remember renting this game as a 12-year-old kid who loved the SNES Sim City and being so pumped about the city building efforts in this game. I distinctly remember that this game caused me to buy my first ever all-nighter gaming session. Seeing the sun come up the next day was a shock because it didn't feel like I'd been up all night. I have not dipped my toes into this game in over 25 years. Really hoping it holds up for you. You have to listen in here. I also love SimCity for the SNES, by the way. Fucking love that game. Why the fuck isn't it on Switch? God damn it. Keith Rolla says, I picked this one up for the first time last year when I saw it at a local store because I'd heard so many people praise it. Combining the platforming and combat with the city builder is really unique, and I really enjoyed playing it. And Cloniani says, I'll be totally honest, I hated the side-scrolling areas. The rest of the game could have been a masterpiece. I don't know why we had to platform. It should have been world-building with turn-based combat. I think it needed the square part of Enix. It's a fascinating take. I don't know. I don't know if I've ever heard anybody say that. I thought, well, you'll hear what I think. You'll hear, but that's an interesting take. Isn't that what Suikoden kind of is? Don't you like fight and then do the turn-based and then build a town? I don't know. We'll talk about it. Interesting take, Cloney. Anyway, let's get into it. I've wasted enough of your time. Yeah, that's why you're here, right? I'll cue up some ActRaiser music. And when it stops, Captain N and I will take you back to the Super Nintendo and November of 1991, 35 years ago. Jesus. And talk a little ActRaiser. Enjoy the episode, everybody. Here we go. All right, joining me via the blank phone on it's a very stormy, rainy, lightning-filled sky Monday afternoon here while we're doing this, which seems fitting that we're talking ActRaiser, where you rain storms and lightning and earthquakes and rain down on everybody else. Joining me to talk ActRaiser this week is one of our power-hungry Discord mods and co-hosts of the Retrotopia podcast. Around these parts, he goes by Captain N. Cap, what's up, buddy? How's it going?
Not too much. It's nice and sunny here, humid with a 36 degrees Celsius. It's hot as balls.
Bro, I saw in the Discord this morning. Sorry, everybody. I know it's weather talk, 90 seconds into the fucking talk, but I saw in the Discord this morning that in St. Louis, I think it was like 50 degrees Celsius today.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I saw that online.
Insane. That's insane.
They're all dead. They're just completely dead. They're gone.
No kidding. Jesus Christ.
R.I.P.
Anything higher than 25. 25 Celsius is my cap. Hotter than that, and I'm like, it's too hot today. 50, I'm not leaving my fucking basement. Leave me the fuck alone. I'm gonna sit in my basement and play ActRaiser, which I have been doing for a couple of weeks now to get ready for this episode. As I probably said during the infamous intro, this I've long considered to be the biggest hole in my Super Nintendo gaming resume, because I'm quite fond of the SNES, but I just never really got around to playing this one until recently. When I asked you about coming on the show, or when you asked me, I don't remember which one of us asked which one, but when we agreed that you were going to come on the show to talk about it, You were like, I've played this before. I just need a refresher. Was this like, is this a childhood thing for you, or is
Oh
this
yeah,
a
this
recent
is
thing?
one of those games I first rented, fell in love with, and then bought because yeah, I was kind of young and dumb, and I really enjoy this game because it kind of does it really well, even though it doesn't seem like it should work. I mean, you're a little cherub building cities and shooting lightning down on people, and the other half, you're a godly statue warrior who goes through, kills monsters. I mean, such a neat concept. And it was also like we were talking in the before we started recording that it was developed by Quintet, who would go on to make such other games as Illusion of Gay and Terra Enigma, which are two of my favorite all-time games on the SNES. So this is where they started. This was their first game, and I've played this game probably once every few years since it's released.
Oh wow. So
Oh
then
yeah.
you know it. I tried it once years ago just because everybody was talking it up, and I tried it up. I tried it out, and like if you've never played it, like the whole game is broken down into like half of it is platform slash action hack and slash gameplay, and half of it is city building. And the first time I tried it, I did like the very first portion of the hacking and slashing action platforming stuff, and I was like, it was okay because let's be honest, like not the greatest platforming action game. Like it's
No,
serviceable, but it's not the greatest of all time or anything like that. It's
it's fun. It's accessible. The levels are short, and you get to what arguably is the more interesting city building aspect of the game. So,
yeah. And
I
the
mean,
and the first time I tried playing it, I got to the first city building part, and I was like, I have no idea what the fuck is going on because it's much more.
oh, there's no
It's very
tutorial.
basic, but it's ironic
Grab
that like
yourself a
the
Nintendo
city
Power, right?
building is no, the city building is very yeah, like it's very basic, but it doesn't teach you a fucking thing. And so I finally, so that was when I quit it the first time. So now this time, when I finally sat down to play through the whole thing, I went old school as I always recommend. Don't be afraid to look up instruction manuals for these classic games, and it changed the world, and I understood how it worked, and I did quite enjoy it. And I think my overall impression of it after rolling the credits on it is that like I don't think it does either thing particularly. Like it does both things serviceably, but neither one, like the action stuff, it doesn't, like there's much better action games on the SNES, and there's better
Yeah.
city builders on the
See, what I
SNES.
think this does that makes it really fun is the fact that you are doing a city builder for a while, but you get to break up that monotony with a little bit of action platforming. And then again, that gets a little bit monotonous and you kind of go back and forth. And I think it's the combination of the two because you nailed it. Nothing is done extremely well, but it's all done serviceable to the point where it's fun.
Yeah,
And
it is. Yeah.
it's that contrast that I think does it. And they remade this game too. There's actually ActRaiser Renaissance.
Yeah. I had a
And
lot of people bring that one up.
yeah, they fixed a lot of stuff that this game could have done better in that game.
Well, you know what's funny is once once I finished the game, because I knew it was an early SNES game, and it is. It's like one of the earliest SNES games, like just ahead of just after launch. Like it's a very early SNES game, and it seems like it seems like the type of game that if they made this exact same game, and I'm not talking about ActRaiser 2, because as you pointed out when we were talking offline, like ActRaiser 2, they removed the city building part, which I don't fully understand, but whatever.
Yeah.
That's for the ActRaiser 2 episode. But I feel like if they were to remake this game near the end of the SNES's lifespan, it would have been just so much deeper. Like it both sides, you know what I mean? Like I was playing and I'm like, this almost feels like a mobile game by today's standards. Not that it was like, I'm not saying it's a bad game. I like this game, but I'm just saying like to play this game for the first time in 2026, I'm like, it just feels so basic. And then I
Empty.
saw that in Europe it was ported to mobile, and I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. Then that works perfectly.
There you go, soothsayer over there.
Yeah,
No, it's a
it's
very basic game. Like I don't know how I don't want to keep going back to the same words, but it does nothing really well, but it does stuff good enough that it's fun.
that was
And
it. Yeah,
that's the thing. Like you're only controlling that little cherub there, and you're not really interacting with building buildings. You're not, making anything. All you do is use the elements to destroy stuff, and then the townspeople will build for you as you guide past for them to go. And
yeah.
then in the side scrolling, it's literally jump and swing sword, and that's your like two attacks. Oh yeah, and spam the one magic that kills everybody instantly.
The star magic.
Yep.
Yeah, that's all I used to. Yeah. As soon as I got it, I was like, well, that fire spell could suck my ass. I'm team star magic.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
that's actually way overpowered spell, and I don't think they meant to do it that way. But yeah, that just cheeses the game.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. If you've never played it, like the whole premise of the game is you play as this dude who I don't know if he's technically a god, but he's like he's godlike.
He's God in Japan.
Are you
He's
a
Americanized in America.
ah? Are it reminded me of Ghostbusters? Are you a god? No, But he was like, so he's basically a god, and he dies or gets killed or goes away, and then these monsters take over the world, and all these people become monsters, and it's monsters, and then finally this god like comes back with a vengeance, and that's why. So like when you're in the action portions, you're going to various parts of this like continent of land you live on and fighting all the monsters, and then killing a boss, and then that frees up the people to start rebuilding the town of where it was before. And then you guide this little chubby cherub naked angel around in the sky. He does your bidding. And you basically tell the town how to build their town, and they rebuild their town. And as they rebuild their town, their population goes up. And as their population goes up, you get more more powerful. And then near the end of an area, you'll have to go in and do a second action part where you fight like that area's boss. Once you kill that boss, the town can keep working. They're happy. You move on, rinse and repeat till you've rebuilt the whole continent and then the final boss. And it actually like it's everything about this game is so basic. And I don't want to make sure I say this properly. Like I could see how somebody could try this game for the first time now and just be like, it was kind of lame. Cause like the action is not particularly
No.
great. The city building, like you said, quite frankly, I had like numerous times in this game where I would set up, and we'll get into more detail on how the city building works, but I had numerous times in this game where I would tell the city how to build, and then I would like go and like change a load of laundry out or something, and then just come back and they're still building.
Yeah.
Like especially once you've killed the monster nests and you're just kind of letting them rebuild, like you can literally just walk away from it at times.
Yeah.
But at the what's that?
Oh, I was just going to say, then you got the people there. The only thing you have to be cognizant of is the people worshiping you in the temples.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they just show up and they're just like, "Oh my God, we are hungry and you gave us food." And it's like, "Yeah, bitch."
Oh God, dude. I love how the message always pops up. Master, this may be very unusual, but the town has something to say. And I was like, we've done this 250 times, Mr. Chubby Cherub. It's not unusual anymore. They clearly want to talk to me. Jesus Christ. But at the end of the day, you mentioned it, like it doesn't do anything particularly well, but it was just like a fun game.
Oh, yeah.
Like I don't need every game I play to be like the deepest, most difficult, strategic, complex video game of all time. Like it was a fun game to just like put on YouTube and like just watch stupid videos and like listen to podcasts and just chip away at. And I quite enjoyed it for what it was.
Yeah, I appreciate the little bit extra they did to it. So if you go into the next town and you start doing something, well, you can eventually, as you progress, you'll need to go back to the first town. Like there's something to do with getting wheat from Fillmore, which is that first town, from Bloodpool, and you have to build a road to the edge of the map. And if you do that, it gives you like this almost infinite resources.
Yeah.
So it becomes important to go back and forth to your towns and help them grow again, because every town has a max they can grow, and you might actually have to go in and lay some thunder down to blow up some huts so that you can get newer, more dense huts in there to grow your population even more.
Yeah. So the city building aspect, yeah, let's touch on that. So because I will say, of the two sides of the game, I personally enjoyed the city building more than as well. Yeah. Like the action stuff is like, this is fine, but I'm like, I can think of I'll go play Super Star Wars if I want to play like a good side-scrolling action game on the SNES. You know what I mean? Like over this.
Yeah, and I'll go play Super Star Wars if I hate myself, because that game's friggin' hard.
That game will destroy you, yes. Whereas this one, like, you get to do that city building in between. And when you get into the city building, like it starts off with like the shrine or the church or whatever the fuck it is in town. You have like two people, and then there's like a dirt road with like little tiny paths going off of it. And all you do at the most basic core is you take this little angel you control and you just trace a path and just tell the people, like, here's how I want you to build the town. And then they'll build the roads in whatever direction you tell them to. And then, like you said, they'll just, at their own leisure, go along that road and build new houses or shacks or whatever the fuck. And then the first main objective when you go to rebuild your town there's monsters attacking the villagers, and you have to find their lairs, and then you have to like trace the town path to the layers so
Yeah.
that the villagers will basically destroy the monster layers. And
You
go ahead.
can also like you get your magic, I think it was, or your energy back from killing the monsters that come out of the layers. So it wasn't beneficial to close those layers too early because
Yeah.
you needed to keep all your magic up so you can use it to, shoot down more trees and stuff.
But that's one of the questions I have about this game, right? So like as a god, you can use your magic points on the city building part to like rain lightning down. You can literally bring rain to like, so the lightning you can use to like destroy certain obstacles like palm trees and rocks. You can use it to destroy. You actually have to destroy as the village gets bigger. The I don't know, maybe they get like better architects, but they figure out how to build better houses.
Yeah.
And then if you want to maximize your population, you actually have to go through and destroy all of the shanties so that they can build the nice houses. And at the early parts of the game, it's literally go through and cast lightning on these people's houses and
Oh,
kill
yeah.
them. Kill them and destroy their homes. And then they'll be like, oh, thank you for destroying our crappy house. Now we can build a better one. And I thought, like, I fought
Yeah,
that for
in
so long.
in this game, you are climate change.
Yeah, it's wild. I was like fighting it, and I'm like, because eventually the town will grow as big as it can, and they just won't build anymore. And then I'm like looking up, I'm like, so how do I make them build more? And everybody, like the instruction manual, the walkthroughs, everybody's like, it's kind of fucked up, but you actually have to be like a vengeful god and go through and destroy the bad
You're a
houses so they'll make better
kind
ones.
god because you're allowing them to evolve.
I guess so, but I was like, that's fucked. So you can use your lightning to either make more land habitable for them or destroy their crappy houses. You can use rain to make the ground easier to like so it's possible to grow food in it and to wash away like marshland, I think, or something. Or use sun to dry up marshland.
Yeah,
One of the spells you can cast is an earthquake,
which is fun.
and it's awesome. And the earthquake will destroy every low level house at once rather than having to go through
Yeah.
with your lightning and find them all. But I'll ask you this, and this, I don't understand this. I think it was by the time I was done the second town, Bloodpool. I think by the time I finished that town, I had enough magic points that I could cast Earthquake. So then I had it. If it's not there, it's by the third town for sure.
Yeah, I don't remember, but you need earthquake in one of the later towns just to get things started. And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think that's when they
But-
expect you to have it. But yeah, I think it's you get it like a town before that with about
what
the
I don't
third.
what I don't understand is like I understand using earthquake to like because they even say like earthquake might shift the actual ground and this land formation, and it does, and it can like open up new paths or open up new areas or whatever, like advance the game, and that's all well and good. But you can also use one earthquake spell and it will destroy every low level house in the town at once instead of having to go through with lightning and do it to all of them. But in that first town, you can't have enough magic points to cast earthquake. So you have to just go through with lightning. And what I don't understand, and I think this is frankly a bit of a design flaw. It's not a huge deal, but I do think it's a design flaw. Like if you're going like, why can't I just have earthquake out of the gate? If you're just going to make me slowly grind up enough magic points to keep using lightning to destroy everything when I could have used earthquake once and just moved on with my life, like why not just give it to me?
Yeah,
Like I
that
don't,
is-
you know
that
what I'm
makes
saying?
sense. Like, yeah, if you could only use it once, then grind up the magic again. But no, you make a good point there. Mind you, there
It's
isn't a
just a
lot that you
nuisance.
have to lightning in the first town. It just no, you make a valid point, sir, and I would like to subscribe to your newsletter.
Like I just was like, it's not like there's any other advantage to it. You either need it to advance the game or it'll just save you the time of finding every bad house and lightning it. And so I was like, why not just give me the earthquake spell so I don't
I
have to
don't
go
know.
through lightning everything. But
I was
minor
the
thing,
old fashioned guy. I'd like to kill my targets like with a little bit of personal flair. That's what the lightning was for.
Oh, you like to watch it? Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
Sit
it's,
there and just like, I'm not going to get into it.
It's fun. It is because you do kind of it sounds so fucked up, but like who amongst us hasn't played Roller Coaster Tycoon and dropped somebody into a hole or hasn't played The Sims and removed the ladder?
Yeah.
You know, like and that's in this one, it's almost a little bit more morbid because these people, like, the word is worship. Like they worship you, and then you're just like, your house is
you are
not
their
good
god.
enough. You literally are God. And you're like, your house isn't good enough. Zap. Like, it's just like, fuck you. But I
You've
did like
prayed
the city
hard, but
building.
make way for development. Boom.
Yeah. The other thing too though with the city building, and I didn't understand this at first, there's like a cap on how many like buildings things like
Yeah.
things the town can build in each even if they have more room. It's like I don't know if it's like a memory thing or whatever, but it's like I don't remember, like for the sake of the conversation, it's like 200 structures, and you don't decide what structures they build. Like
No.
you show them where to make the roads or where to make the roads, and then they build whatever they need, and that's all well and good. The one exclusion to that is if you tell them to build a road across a creek or a river, they'll build a bridge, and each bridge counts as one of your structures, which I didn't understand until I was reading some guides on stuff after I was done the game. And I was like, well, fuck, because I thought that like to maximize the size of each town, it was just build every road on every square you can to
Oh, that would
maximize the
make
amount of areas they can get to.
yeah, that would make sense in a sense, but it kind of I like how it limits you though, because it could be very simple just to burn all the trees and then build all the houses, but now you got to be a little bit more strategic because you have like right off the bat you have a river you can't cross, so you need to build up enough to get rid of the layers that are there. Then you have to go find the ability to build the bridge, and at the same time you have to manage your town folks because you also have a population cap, so you can only hit a certain level of population, and it's just it adds a little bit
Yeah.
of nuance to what would otherwise be a very simple Sim City esque type game.
Well, and that's what I was gonna say, because like when I played through the first couple of towns, and I was literally just making every road everywhere I could, and then it finally would say like the town was at max level, it was capped out, and there was still all this open area where there was roads, but there was nothing else built around it, and I was like, fuck, I don't know what else to do. And that was when I finally looked up like, how do I get them to build there? And found out, A, not only is there a cap to how many structures you can have, but B, those bridges are not destructible. Like once you do them, if you've made it your save file, tough cheese. Like you can't
Yeah,
rewind them, you can't delete them. And I honestly like most of me shifted toward liking that better because I do agree with you. At first, I thought this was, at first, frankly, I thought the city building kind of sucked because I was like, so is it literally just like clear out the map, make sure you've drawn the villagers onto every square, and then just watch them build the town? I was like, there's no strategy to this. What the fuck? Then once I realized there was some strategy to trying to like make your roads as efficient as possible and stuff like that, I liked that way better. But I minor criticism, and I don't even know if it's a criticism because it's a 35-year-old game and maybe that's just the way the world was back then, but I was like, why couldn't you have explained some of this to me a little bit? Like I know it doesn't come with in-game tutorials that expect you to read the manual, but even reading the manual, I didn't fully understand the strategy that did go into the town building. Like I really thought it was just cover every path and be good.
I think this was just a flavor of the time, like figure it out as you go along is what we did as kids. Even when you had the manual, 90% of the time it would leave something out that was super important that you would find
Yeah,
out on the school ground. So
that's
I
true.
imagine this was just a trial and error game.
And I mean, fair enough, you're right. And I will say that like the only penalty to not maximizing the growth of your town is, as I said, as the population of the entire landmass goes up, your level goes up, and as your level goes up, you get more health to take into the action areas. And by the time I got to the end of the game, I looked it up and I was like one level short of max level and couldn't get it because my towns weren't built efficiently enough. Like there was no way for me to go back and get the population up to where I needed it to get. If there is, I don't know what it was. But then I went to the end boss gauntlet, which we'll talk about later, and I did eventually beat it. And I don't know if that one thing would have mattered. So I feel like the city building thing, like the only, in my opinion, the only real advantage to like really maximizing each of them, or like the reason to go back and try to maximize your efficiency of building your towns, is like for the replay value. Like if you want to, because like the game itself, you can beat it in like, I don't know, probably not even 10 hours. Like it's
Oh
not
no,
a
yeah, a
long
couple
game.
hours.
I didn't find it even all that difficult other than the very end.
Yeah, it I don't know. Something I guess I kind of like about the game as well is it's not overly difficult. It's not something. Well, I guess when you spam that one spell there, of
Yeah.
course it's not going to be difficult. But no, it's more relaxing than it is like going to challenge you. If you're somebody
Yeah.
who's like Souls-like fan, this game is not the one for you.
No, it is
No.
no, it is relaxing. But like, and I think that's when I said I thought it kind of came across like a mobile game. Maybe that's more of what I meant because like outside of those like very short action platforming levels, it is a lot of like it is like a relaxing basic town builder that I kind of enjoyed. I thought it was pretty cool. That was fun. The other thing you mentioned about the town building is the fucking one town, like one town will be like, we've discovered wool or some shit that'll like let you make warmer clothes.
Yeah.
And then when you try to build the winter areas town, you need to give them the wool so they can make warmer clothes. I would have liked to have seen them expand that system just a little bit more because
Yeah,
it's so
would've
basic.
yeah, it would have been nice. Every town has 2 parts to it, so, 2 things will happen that majorly affect the town, and it would have been nice if they made part 1, specific to that town, but part 2, maybe you have to go to the next town over and do something in order to solve the problem in town 1. Just make it a little more complex, a little more engaging. I know, like I said earlier, there are reasons to go back, but not many story reasons to go back.
No, and the reasons to go back are very easy.
Optional. They're very optional as well.
Yeah, yeah. So it's not bad, but it is basic. That's all. Yeah, but it's gave you a little bit more reason to go back and visit there. It's like I don't want to sound like I'm dunking on the. Oh, the other thing too is like you fight the when you go into the new like when you find a new area. So you do the each area of the each level, if you want to call it that, of the game is basically like 3 stages. It's the action stage where you clear all the monsters. Then you go to the town building thing where you have to get them to seal up all the monster caves on their town. Then you'll go to another action sequence to like fight the boss that area, and then town finishes and you move on. When you go into the city building part, at the very beginning of each city building, there's a bunch of monster layers around and they spawn the monsters, and you control the little chubby cherub angel mouse pointer guy, and he can like shoot arrows to fight those monsters. And the monsters can bump into you and drain your health, but all that happens when they drain your health is you can't attack anymore. And if the
Yeah, I hate
monsters
that.
Oh, I just found it annoying because I was like, there's no penalty to the monsters taking my villagers because they'll just come back. There's no penalty to them destroying the town because they'll just rebuild the town.
Yeah.
And if I try to fight them and they hit me, I just can't shoot at them for a minute, but it doesn't matter anyway. So I was like, I would have liked to have seen a little bit more depth put into that fighting monsters as the flying little angel guy, because it's just like
Yeah.
it's
No,
it's fun
that's
for a minute and then it's pointless.
yeah, it's a fun little thing, but you're right. Take away any consequence of getting hit by the monsters all the time. But then again, there's also some of those bullshitty monsters there that you keep shooting arrows at, but you're a pixel off to the left. And
Oh,
yeah, that happens. Or the skull ones later on in the game that are just almost damn near impossible to hit.
those
But
skulls could suck my ass and they move so fast.
yes,
But then there's also like I got to the point where I just stopped fighting them unless they were right near me, because I was like, I know you need to kill them to get your little bit of your magic back, but I guess the point where I don't even need any more magic. I literally just need the village. Like, I've cleared the path to the monster's lair. I've traced the path to the monster's lair. I just need the villagers to build the path to the monster's lair and close it. And the monsters are attacking me, and I'm like, I'm trying to kill you, but it takes like 12 arrows, and it doesn't even matter if you get away because you're not even going to do anything. And I just, again, I was like, I'm just leaving and going to flip laundry and then coming back. Like,
and
that's my biggest criticism. As fun as the game is, and it is basic, and it is a good time, and I do really like it, and it's pretty creative. Like, I would have liked to have seen like just 20% more depth on every aspect of it.
I know I'm jumping like a couple of years ahead here, but that's one of my biggest issues with ActRaiser 2 is they took away the town building instead of expanding on it, which they should have done. A lot of this stuff was the same stuff like being complained about at back when the game first came out. So logically, they should have taken it and said, "Hey, we can make this better," and then just put more effort into the town building. But instead, they took the part that people weren't so thrilled about and focused on that. And like, yeah, this
Yeah,
game could have a very engaging town building like aspect to it where you actually have more control of what gets put where. Like, you should be able to take your farmlands and put them around water or something like that and just kind of control what goes on, because you really are at the mercy of the AI, and we're talking 1991 AI. So it
yeah.
wasn't very smart. And it does kind of hurt the game a little bit in my opinion, because that taking away the control from the player takes away the ability of the player to make the mistakes or, the great moves that make them legends in the gaming community. And then the cherub being damn near invincible, just I always had the problem there where I would lose the ability to shoot the arrows and I'd have no magic, so I'd just sit there and watch my town people get pulled
Yeah.
away, and I'd be like, okay, bye.
But then there's no penalty for them being pulled away either. They're just
No,
like, they'll come back. These
they
people
have
fuck
more
like
babies.
rabbits. Yeah, these people are
Yeah.
literal rabbits. They'll be back. They'll make more. Don't worry about it. So
And then they'll worship you for it.
yeah. All that being said, like I've said, if I wanted to play a city builder on my SNES, SimCity. Like I have SimCity. That's all I need.
Yeah.
I did enjoy the city building aspect, and I think if I was to play this game again someday, which I think I will again someday, I would understand the strategy that goes into building the town a little bit, and I think I would try to maximize like efficiency of my roads and stuff. I did enjoy, like I really did enjoy the city building. I would have liked to have seen it be a little deeper, but it doesn't make it bad or anything.
No, like I've said, I've played this game many times over the last couple of decades, and it's still fun. It's just relaxing fun. And I think you've nailed it when you said it's like a mobile game. And I could just see myself sitting on the couch, chin in my chest there, swiping on a phone, trying to build little towns and shoot cherub arrows all over the place.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. It's dude, and then one other thing about the town building, and then we'll, you know what? Okay, how about this? We gotta let a sponsor in. I'll get in trouble. So let me do my ad read, guys. Let me keep my bills on, and then I want one last little thing on the town. We'll get into like the platforming and all that kind of stuff. So, remember the game will return after these messages. That's what I'm supposed to say.
This time it calls you to the ultimate battle of good against evil. To a quest few are prepared for, and fewer still survive. But perhaps now the power is within your grasp. It's the game that's already a legend. The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past, only on the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Now you're playing with superpower.
Okay, so before the break, I was saying there was one other thing I wanted to touch on with the town building. I get to the end of the game, and I know I'm jumping ahead. We'll talk about it. There's like a big boss gauntlet to finish the game, and you only have 3 lives. And I didn't find any of the action platforming parts hard at all, really. And then you get to this boss gauntlet, and all of a sudden the game kicks it into high gear and fucks you up. And I could not get through the 7 bosses with my 3 lives. So I finally go on, and I'm like, I don't want to quit the game now. And I'm looking up strategies, and they're like, make sure you go to the towns and get some of these Spirit of Life things, which give you additional lives. And I don't mind that they were hidden at all. But I got to tell you, bro, I did not find a single one of those on my own.
Oh,
not
you didn't?
one. No.
See,
Maybe I just suck.
I always focus on like maxing my magic ability, because you got to use Stardust on these bosses to wipe them out. And you have 6 bosses before you take on the last dude there, and you basically get to use this spell once, and you got to use it right too, because if those little starbursts don't hit them, it's not taking any health off, and then you got to go old school, either use another spell or swipe them with your sword.
Yeah.
And it's not easy even doing that, because at the same time, if you do get hit, you're not healing between these fights. You got to do all 7 of these fights without healing.
But you heal when you die.
Yeah, I was going to say that one of the strategies is to die near the end, so you get your health back for the last fight.
Yeah, and that was like, I would get to like the 6th or 7th, the 5th or 6th boss, and I'd be down to 1 life, and I'd be like, fuck me. So then I finally look online, and people are like, oh, well, if you go to the second town, and in hindsight, I should have caught it, because they even, like, the villagers even kind of hint at it when they talk to you. If I had just thought to go and do the rain on the water, they're like, oh, hey, we found this thing, and it's an extra life. And I ended up going and getting 2 of those, and that was the only 2 I needed. And then I had enough lives, and I beat the game. But I was like, fuck, I'm ashamed that I didn't catch that. Like, because I should have caught at least a couple of them.
Yeah,
and I like that those were hidden
sneaky.
There. Yeah. Oh, do you know there's the one village where there's like the bird path like traced in the ground, and then when you get to the last area, there's the island shaped like the bird?
Oh, yeah.
I never did figure out what to do with that. I tried all my magic spells and everything. Do you know what that is? I never figured it out.
Well, it's been a while since I've done it. No, I couldn't tell you off the top of my
All
head,
right.
and I'm just going to sit here and circle. But
I mean, it didn't matter. I beat the game without it, so it must not have been that big. But I was like, "Fuck, what is this?" Like it's so obvious there's something there. But I tried all my spells on it, and people said they were going to the island and exploring, but couldn't find any secrets there, and I never figured
okay.
it out.
So I just looked up. I have a walkthrough open here. Bird Shape Island. A tablet is available, and name of town. Uh, oh no, it's available in Casandora, the desert town, and when it's used in this town, Marahana, the citizens will investigate the Bird Shape Island. For the investigation to be successful, you need to use lightning near the right wing to remove one of the forests. So it's a little bit
Oh,
complex.
I did use the tablet because they kept exploring the island and say they couldn't finding anything, and I kept trying to use my magic on the island. I must not have used it in the right portion of the
Oh
island.
yeah, the upper right
Ah.
tree of that little bird.
It's always upper right.
Always upper
Always upper
right.
right.
It's
Fuck
Japan. They
me.
go right to left.
Sons of bitches. All right. Well, it's not a big deal. Is there anything else in the city building part that we didn't mention that you? Oh, I will say too. Minor thing, but like as good as I think the music in this game is, the city building loop could have been a little longer.
Yeah, it's short enough to burrow into your brain, but not bad enough to stay there forever.
No, that's what I started just watching YouTube or
Yeah.
like putting. I was like, all right, that's enough. But other
I
than
think
that, I'm good.
yeah, the only thing I'd say about the city building aspect is in the remake Renaissance, they did something I thought they should have done in this one is that when you go into every layer or the citizens go to every layer, it actually starts another side-scrolling action scene, but you're in a pit this time. So you actually fight like a big monster in the pit or a bunch of monsters to close them out. And I thought that would have been neat to be done in the original because I always thought it was a little bit simple. The town folks goes, they perform a ritual, and then it gets sealed off. It just seemed a little too simple to me.
Oh, so like when they go close a monster's lair, you actually get to like play that a little
Yeah,
bit.
you go down into
Oh,
it, you do another side-scrolling platforming thing, but you're not in like a level, you're in a actual pit. So you go fight some monsters, and then it closes the pit for you.
oh, that makes yeah, that would have been cool. Because I agree. Like considering such a big aspect of the town building is getting rid of the monster layers so the people are safe to come back. Like you don't even do anything. You just tell them to go close it and then watch from your cloud while they do it. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
and it
it's
would have been better to do that rather than have you come from the heavens and come down and fight a random level with a boss at the end of it. It would have been
y-
more fun to go through these like little pits and then close them all and then fight a boss at the end.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that would have been rad. Well, you fucked up, Enix and all of you fucking developers. You fucked up. So that's basically like the basics of the city building, which you do in between the action parts. Each level starts off with you doing an action part, and then it ends with you going back into an action part and then fighting a boss. And I gotta say, dude, like similar thought process to the city building. It's not that it's bad, but it is done better in other
It,
like it's
yeah,
short and it's kind of basic.
the levels aren't like super well designed. I mean, they're pretty linear. You can go up a platform, down a platform, but there's, most of your deaths are going to happen because you fall off of a ledge. But other than that, no, there's
Yeah.
nothing special about the levels.
Dude, I died so much more either falling off a ledge or touching spikes
Yeah.
because you have so much health and each enemy takes away like one health. And there's constantly like at least once or twice per each area, you'll find an apple to get all your health back.
Yep.
Like that's where I would, especially the second level where you're on these like docks going across this water. I died there falling so much. So much. It's insane. And I was like, fuck, would you please just kill me by hitting me once, but never.
Well,
Um,
I always remember the first fight and the Minotaur, the Centaur, whatever you want to call him, the half horse, half dude, and how simplistic his character was. He would rush at you, and all he had to do was duck, and that sets the tone for the entire game. So there was really no strategy to him, and you barely get hit, and he's like the easiest boss I've ever fought in any game ever.
yeah.
And
I found, granted, I used the star attack on the last two or three. Other than that boss gauntlet at the end where I couldn't just use my star attack, I found all the bosses just insanely simple.
oh yeah, that
Like
star attack is the only way to go. I mean, once you
they
get
just,
that, everything is easy.
yeah. But even without it, like a lot of them, like, they have the, like, this was gaming 101 back in the 80s and 90s. Bosses would like telegraph their attack pattern. You'd learn the attack pattern, know how to counter it, right? Which is fine. But these ones, like, they'd have like one attack, and between attacks, I don't know if you notice this, between attacks, they would take like 5 seconds where you could just mash attack and take away like a
Yep.
quarter of their health bar.
Oh yeah, it's that was the thing. Like just spamming the sword button there was half your strategy. Like
Just
you didn't have to
kamikaze.
jump and hit somebody. You didn't have to make sure you were ducking. You just swing that sword and he would just hit from top to bottom.
Yeah, just like to complete kamikaze them. That being said, I do think they look cool. Like, I like the
Oh yeah.
lizard. I like the I fucking hate that fucking floating eye thing. And that one gave me the most problems. The big sphinx head was cool. Like, the bosses looked cool. They
I
were
like
just
the
so easy.
sandworm. The sandworm at the
Yeah.
beginning of the desert there, and you have that pit that you're being pulled down into. I thought that was a really fun fight. But again, his
Yeah.
thing was shooting four things into the air, and then you just had to dodge them, like go in between them, and then you go back to spamming the square button, or what button's
Yeah,
that on
like
Super
it
Nintendo? Y.
like I don't mean for this to sound disrespectful, but like the way the action, like these play, like they had a really good concept for what they wanted these action platforming sections to be. And then they feel like they're only like half done. Not that they play broken, but it's just like there's only about a dozen enemies. It's the same 3 or 4 enemies in each type. They're not hard to dodge for the most part. The bosses are like, it just feels like, I don't know. Like, I don't know anything about game development, but it just feels like a few more months and they would have like flushed those levels out and just made them a little bit better. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're just
Yeah,
so easy.
it's again, it's the early stages of game development, in the considering the Nintendo was basically the revival of game development.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
100%.
I can see where they had growing pains. Like if I was to rank this on Quintet's list of games, this would actually rank below pretty much every other one I've mentioned to you.
Yeah.
It's fun, it's great, but it wasn't their best effort.
No, and again, I want to make it clear to people that love this game. Like, I'm not saying I like this game. Like, I'm not saying it's bad. It's kind of, sometimes there's nothing wrong with having like a basic game that you can beat in an afternoon that you can just fire up and play for fun. I just
Oh
say that, like, and you know
no,
what? Had I played this back in 1991, I probably wouldn't even have these same criticisms. But it's hard to play so many games of this type and then go back and play this one and not see it as
yeah,
basic as it is. You
and
know?
that's where I'm coming from. Is I'm coming from a very, I'm like looking right through the nostalgia lens, and I remember playing this the first time, and I was a lot younger, so my brain was a little bit more naive or gullible to video games, and I remember the enjoyment I had with this game. And back then it was challenging because it was early 90s. We weren't great at video games, and I just remember how much fun it was, and every time I play it, I remember how much fun it is. And by the time I get to the end of it, that's when I start remembering how easy it is and how much polish it did not have.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like you said, especially coming from 2026, looking back, it's getting more and more unpolished every time I play it, because you're right. We've played better things, including the remake of this.
Yeah. But I mean, that being said, like, it's not bad. I don't think it's like, it's not broken. The game
No,
ran well. I didn't run into any glitches. Like, it did what it was supposed to do. The controls were competent. It's just like, basically every enemy dies. Oh, I want to say too, graphically, I don't think the town building graphics are spectacular. They were what it was. I actually thought the side scrolling portions, especially for an early, like, first 3 months of the SNES era game, looked pretty fucking good.
yeah, the backgrounds, the levels, everything looked just bang on. And
Yeah,
the character, I don't know what you call him, the warrior, he's actually well animated too.
agreed. Yeah. Like, everything about it looked nice. I really liked the music in the side scrolling portions.
They do
That
good
didn't
music.
Yeah, it had fine music. It didn't seem repetitive. Like, it was very competent to play. Like, my
It
biggest criticism of the side scrolling parts are like, I would have liked them to be a little bit longer or have a little bit more strategy and depth to them, instead of just, they're just so basic, but like,
it
they
almost
were fine.
yeah, it almost feels like two different teams built this game. Like a team that was fighting to say I wanted to build a Sim City clone, and another team going, no, let's do a side scroller. And the boss came down and was like, why not do both? And it
That is
really
what it
feels
feels
like
like.
there's almost a disconnect between the two game modes.
Yeah, it's I'll said it in the infamous intro, but I was like, I don't think I've ever played a game that was such an odd mishmash of genres. And then I was like, oh well, except Dark Cloud, which you were the guest on, and I lost my shit on.
Let's stop that there.
But
The episode you made me cry.
but that is the only other game like this I could think of where you have like an action area and then you go back and build a city. Like,
Well, it's an interesting concept that really actually works really well. I mean, the action parts, give you a little bit of that gamer stress, where the city building parts is that gamer calm.
yeah.
Like,
I think it could be a fun. I mean, and chances are this game does exist somewhere, and I just don't know or I can't remember it off the top of my head. But like, I think it'd be fun to do a game like this where it was a city builder where you bring like some settlers in or some survivors in, and they need to survive in an area of like monsters or something like this. But then instead of having a god rain down and come in and fight the bosses, like what if like they had to go into the areas and fight, and then once you kill the monsters, you can expand into that area to keep building your city to get stronger to expand further. Like I think there's genuine meat on the bone of this concept. And this has to, if this isn't the first game where you go and fight and then build a town in between, I don't know what is. Like,
yeah,
it seems like it's a trailblazer.
I
Um,
this really does need to be explored in the modern day, because I think they could actually do justice to it now if they took this concept and all the experience with the different types of games they have in these two genres and built something worthy of this idea.
Me too. Yeah. I liked it though. Like I don't want to say I'm not trying to be hard on it. I just, my only major criticism of ActRaiser is that I want more ActRaiser.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, that wasn't quite deep enough for me, but it's like, when you go to a restaurant and you order a meal and it's like a really good meal, but the portion just isn't big enough.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like, that's how I feel about this game. Like, I really enjoyed my time with it, but I needed a second helping of it. That's all.
Yeah, it
Um,
definitely could have used some expansion onto the different parts of it. Like I said, a little more side scrolling because the levels were a bit short, but a little more control in the town building. I think that's pretty much what I would love to see in this game.
yeah, definitely. Like, I could have expanded both. Like, I could have lived with a little bit deeper town building and I could have lived with a little bit longer action side scrolling, but it did its job. It was fun. I understand now. Like, dude, you can't look up a list of like, I mean, depends on your number, but I bet you if you look at most lists of the top 25 SNES games, ActRaiser's somewhere near the bottom of that 25. It's like a fringe top 25. It's not going to get ahead of the Marios and the Final Fantasies and the Chrono Triggers and the Zeldas and stuff, but it's usually hanging right around that 25 spot. And
Yeah,
and
well,
I get it now.
considering it came from the people who made Dragon Quest, it's not surprising it's going to have that backing of some good developers in it.
Yeah. Yeah, now that I've played it, I'm like, yeah, this was a hole in my. I'm gonna buy a copy of this for my SNES now. Like, I liked it. I enjoyed this game. I could see this being one that, like you said, every couple 3 years you fire it up and you just beat it in a few hours, and it just didn't. And just it is what it is. Oh,
Yeah,
the one thing, yeah, and I don't know if we, like, I know we kind of touched on it, but like, buddy, that difficulty spike at the very
yeah.
end with the boss gauntlet is pretty shocking.
Yeah, kind of a slap in the face after the rest of the games. Like, look at this nice, relaxing adventure, and then boom, just right in the nuts.
The whole game, just even when you die, like if you're in one of the platforming levels and you have 3 lives and you run out of your 3 lives, that little angel guy is like, I hope you'll try again. And then you go back in and try again. No penalty, doesn't matter, just try again. Whereas,
It reminds me of those old cartoons there where, the cat or something walks into the room to fight and he gets kicked out, and then like, the other cat's like, good again there, sport, and he goes back in to fight again and gets kicked out.
yeah.
That's
Yeah,
pretty
exactly.
much what
When
it
you
is.
get into that,
You don't give up.
yeah. And then when you get to that final boss gauntlet where you have to fight the 6 bosses from the 6 towns you rebuilt, and then the final boss, and you have to fight 2 forms of the final boss. It's not that I beat it. Like, it's not that it's unbeatable, but and I don't even think it's like, it's not, I'm not saying it's easy, but I don't think it's like ridiculously hard. It's just that this game for 3 hours or 5 hours or however amount of time you've been playing it, your foot is like, you're on cruise control, your foot's off the gas, and you're just like, this is fun, chill time. And then all of a sudden the game is just like, hey, do you know how to play video games? And they're like, let's find out. And it just fucking throws hands. It's insane. But And on that note, I will say too, I would have liked it if the last area had a level before the like
Yeah, that would have been
just
kind of
fighting
nice.
bosses was kind of weak.
Yeah, it would at least, go from boss room to boss room.
Yeah,
Get
yeah.
yourself like a health, like a half apple or something to bring your health up a little bit, just to give you a little bit more of a chance.
Yeah, Mega Man throws the boss gauntlet at you in every game, but you have to go through some levels before that gauntlet. That's all.
Yeah.
But that's me. That's my. I think I'm. Oh yeah, and then if I'm not mistaken, you only have one save file.
Yes.
I save stated the whole time, so like I don't remember. But
Yeah. You name yourself at the beginning of the game, and that's the file for the rest of the game.
ooh, that
Don't
was
play this if you have a brother who wants to play it too.
yeah, that was always a big. I've never been a big even Pokemon like. I've never been a big fan of games that only do the one save file.
No,
Like,
neither am I. I'm like the type of guy I'll use all 3 save slots on the cartridge, just in case. That moment there, like, oh
sure.
fuck, I got soft locked, and at least you can go back only a few hours instead of restarting the game.
Final Fantasy Tactics, you fucking asshole. But it was good. I enjoyed it. I'm glad. I feel like I can now safely say I consider Sunset Riders to be the biggest hole in my SNES resume. Now that I finally played this one, because that's what everybody always talks about too. But I'm glad I finally played this. I liked it. It was fun. Worthy winner of the first ever Royal Rumpoll.
Yeah, that was a good time.
Yeah, that was a good time. Are you good? Can we score this thing?
Yeah, I think we can.
Do you got any ideas, or am I coming up with something on the fly?
I was thinking, how many towns is there?
I think there's 6.
6? Well, we could do it out of 6.
All right, let's go out of 6. Yeah, let's go out of 6. Get after it.
All right. I don't know. Like, obviously, I'm going to score this fairly high because it is one of those games that were very fundamental in my loving of video games. I think I am going to give it a good solid 5.5. I know there's a lot we said that could be better, but I'm very forgiving because of how early in the Super Nintendo's life it was.
It's a good score. It's a good score. Good score. Yeah, I'm going to go...
On a scale of 1 to Dark Cloud.
Yeah. Fuck. You mean Dark Cloud to 6. I'll go, I'll go like 4.75. Like I'm in that, I'd give it like an 8 out of 10. It's good. I understand why it's never at the top of those best SNES game of all time lists, but I also understand why it usually is hanging around the bottom of those best SNES games of all time lists.
Yeah, and it's definitely one that you'll see on the shelf and you'll be like, I haven't played that in a while, and then you'll jump back into it and you'll get a very fun feeling before you start remembering why the game did have its flaws.
Yeah. It was good. I want to try the sequel now at some point, even though I know everybody brings up that they got rid of why you would get rid of the city building? I don't understand. That makes no sense to me.
No,
I don't understand that at all.
Somebody probably got fired for that one. Hopefully they did.
I hope so. Sounds ridiculous. But I am going to check out this remake because I know people are going to write in and tell me to try it out. So I will try out the remake because it sounds cool.
Absolutely worth it. If I would say it's actually the way you should play the game if you're going to play it nowadays. If you're not like super into retro games, so you're just kind of a tourist, we'll call it. The Renaissance is definitely the way to play this game and enjoy it.
Yeah, that's what you'd recommend. I'll have to check it out now. I mean, I'm intrigued. Yeah, it was good.
I'll say if you are a diehard retro video gamer, I would say play this in its purest form of the original. So you go either way. I'm not going to be mad.
I'm looking right now. I'm price charting a loose copy of ActRaiser going for about $60 Canadian. I would have rather gotten it in that like 30 to 40 range, but I can live with that. It's a solid game. I might have to pick one up eventually. Good shit. Good votes by everybody that got ActRaiser all the way from number 2. They went wire to wire to take down the Rumpoll.
Was that the Steve Austin?
Run. Yeah, actually Vince McMahon won from number 2.
Oh, did he? That clown.
We don't talk about that. But it was good. That was a good fucking game. Cap, you don't just talk old video games with me. You do it with lots of people. Where else do you do it?
Yeah, I have the podcast with Alan and Sam, 2 members of this community as well. It's Retrotopia. We do basically the same thing. We talk about retro video games, so we kind of do it as a roundtable discussion. Same people every week. So it's kind of our difference on there, as well as I do another podcast with a member of the community named Wildcard, who is my mortal enemy. And we do a monthly discussion podcast called Retro Bites Neo under the same brand as Retrotopia. And recently we just partnered up with a used video game store called retrosalvagegames.com. So if you want to look for retro games down in the States, he delivers to Canada, US, UK. Check them out, retrosalvagegames.com.
Beautiful. Yeah, shout out. It's a great story. Retro Salvage. That's fucking good shit. Links in the description, assuming I remember to get them there, which I should have done. Cap, thank you so much for doing this as always, buddy. I appreciate it. The next time I come across a part beat 'em up, hack and slash, part town building game, that's clearly your department now.
You heard that here first, folks. Dark Cloud 2 coming up.
Dark Cloud 2. Someday. I'm telling you right now, Dark Cloud 2 happens someday. The redemption story. Someday it happens. So good shit, buddy. Thanks for doing this, man.
Yeah, take care.
And that is going to do it for this week's episode. Cap, thank you so much for giving me a call and talking a little ActRaiser. And every single one of you nerds listening to this, whether it's your first Remember the Game or your 382nd, thank you for flying with Remember the Game Airlines. I know there's a ton of retro gaming shows out there, and you chose us. Good for you. Thank you for listening. We really appreciate it. If you liked the show, leave us a good review. I'm not sure what they accomplish, but I know I'm supposed to ask for them, and they neutralize the angry negative reviews. So they make me feel good about myself. And if you want more of these, you know the plug, patreon.com/rememberthegame. I'm only asking for $3 to get things started. $3 a month. And in exchange for that, I'm going to give you instant access to 382 Remember the Games ad-free with timestamps. You're going to get over 300 episodes of Expansion Pass. You're going to get almost 300 episodes of Game Patch. And if you take it up to the $5 tier, you're also going to get about 160 episodes of Mark McHugh and I's Simpsons podcast, Purple Monkey Dishwasher, and over 250 of my Rambling Idiot podcasts as well. Plus Discord access, vote on the games we cover right into the show, blah, blah, blah. You know the whole blurb. Patreon.com/rememberthegame. Check out Cap's podcast, Retrotopia. There'll be a link in the description of this episode, assuming I remember to put it there. I think that's it. I'm going to thank some patrons and get out of here. No RTG next week. I am taking off for the long weekend here in Canada, so I don't think one will be ready. I'll probably get a Patreon placeholder up there just so you have something to listen to. But a couple weeks from right now, we'll be back talking some Mega Man 5 for the NES. And then other episodes that are in the works right now, if you want some sneak previews, include BioShock Infinite, the long-awaited Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion episode. I'm going to finally get that fucking thing done. And Little Big Planet for the PS3 is on the slate here soon as well. So appreciate you guys. Thanks for listening. I'm thanking some patrons. Talk to you on the next one. Cheers so long. Goodbye. Remember the Game is brought to you by our Patreons. I couldn't puke up all the content I churn out of a week without all your support. The following people are the senior executive vice president level or higher at patreon.com/rememberthegame. And as such, I'm contractually obligated to thank them all as quickly as I can. So we'll go newest to oldest this week. Yeah, let's do that. We haven't done that in a while. A huge thank you to Remember the Game Hall of Famer, Slick Motherfucking Rick, Stereo Pixel, Sir Blackburn, I Swear My Name is Ray, Santiago Ramos, Daniel Montgomery, Will Rusher 84, I Am Mr. Carlos, Michael Barjudina, Jason Hoysh, The Maritime Musician, AJL 2019 FTW, Better Mousetrap Guitars, Cody Donaldson, Proud Slurm Addict, Adam is Not Patrick Waugh, Self High Five, Queer Al Yank Your Dick, Amanda Hug and Kiss, Carl Not Garl, Master Queef, Chris Nethercutt, The $100 Kid Ted Michaels, George Swan, Redline Aerodrones, Jonathan Breyer, Sailor Man 82, Dixon Miaz, Catatonic Abyss, A Handsome Major Angus McZongo Esquire, Dildo on a Hookshot, Siegfried, Landon Turquoise, The Okayest of Muffins, Frank Preeve, Spooky Dookie, Just James, Cannon Fodder Games, Devin Collins, Mikey Hag, Chase Spotfucker, Fancy Store-Bought Dirt, Game Boy Gannon, Rob Lindsay, Jeff Leopard, Horror Wars Podcast, Akiris Network, Jinxie425, Legendberry, Thunder Leaps, Topher Love, Shut Up, Captain Asbury Juice, Erotic Onion Ring, Flater Flav, Lord Salazar, Travis Sanders, MacGyver88, Hello Mr. Thompson, Savage Boost, Swoosh, Daserate, excuse me. You heard about Pluto, Daniel Cook, Ocarina of Tim Rocks, Conebread, Retro Salvage Games, VOS Rager, Wilco, McCracken, Diablo Spartan, Monkal, David Schroeder, Saxophone, generic name 238, Darbles, Eric Hopewell, Adam Blank still hasn't reviewed Crash Team Racing, Muffin Man Jr., Spider Cat, Alex McIntyre, Toby OP, A Fridge Too Far, Lotus, Flitty123, Yes, This Rocks, Ida Yellow, Big Daddy Randall, Mr. Jabroni, Gay for Mole Man, Binky the Clown, Cody Thompson, Liquor Like Luigi, Fill Up My Mouth with Farts, Cesar, Moby36, Too Much Karma, Bula, Smith, Blobby, Brian Richmond, Robbie Air, Jay Callahan, Adam Blake still hasn't reviewed Mario Galaxy, Shoeboxers, Asian Booty Pants, Christopher Lee Williams, Mark Sneed, Eddie D19, E-Man Trucker, You Son of a Bitch, Why? Tell Me Why, The Supreme Chozo Rizu, Fallen Snow Kiku, Penguin Milk, B Money, Chris Hill Isn't Scared, That Could Be Anyone's Ass, Faded Suffering, Sour Goat Face, Frosty Bear, Lucas Shaman, Roger Staubach's Pool Cleaner, Lord Logrod Huge and Don II, Marcus Mendoza, Because 19, Beers of War, Lord Palmerston, Nordak, Pee Wee Squitters, Can't Destroy Her, Kevin Monroe, The Big Deal, Adam Martinet, Nick Creature, Postman, Darth Skywalter, Bartman Forever, Zombie Exy, Just Car Prank, Scotty J, Please Refrain from Tasting the Knob, Astro Shasta, Ryan Perry, Mild Oatmeal, Hooli, Works for Me, AB Killin, Monstrous D Boner, Kia Pup, Brandon DeZeba, Maverick, T-Bear87, Lugnut, Tadpole, Big the Cat, Zamatos, Christopher Britt, Quiet Place Queen, Beef Dingleberry, My Left Nut, Timothy Sabrinsky, Graham Kennedy, Musty Beetle, Maverick Marty, Christian Gabriel, Caveman Lance, Timmy the Exuberant Turtle, Hits Meals, Isaiah, Squeak Nuts, The Fletchman, Donnie the Dude Walter, not Johnny the Dude Walter, fucking Johnny. Sam Carpenter, Drugs of Bed, MK, James Juan Francesco, Max Lagroom, Armin Tamzarian's copy of Swank, General Fury, Oroku Saki's Gardener, Jimothy, High Plains Drifter, Hega Waffle, Earl, Archangel Otaku, Storm Beagle, Scary Terry, Retro Riders Podcast, Wyatt the Surgeon Who Isn't a Surgeon Row, a dude named Adam, Decoy Man, Fuzzy99, Gabe, Matt Babineau, Stud Still Smash, Rush's Dog Walker, Leroy Westrich, Thomas Smith, Beaver Boy, Dabs All Day, Growly Wog, the Shawsome Sauce, Biddy, Jake Carter, Northern, Joe the Sandman, Phil Lencher, Tyler, Juris Dr. Mario, Miziru, Dude Where's My Game, Bitch Ass Brian, Steve Dalk, Jameer Williams, DBXJ, Madam Nutsitch, Discount Psyop, Elijah Burns, Chugger22, Triple Three, Captain Black Silver, Zach Shepard, Holmes, Angles Claw Shot, Just a Fish, Randy Barrich, Jeff Bergeron, Titan 420, Dean Donian, Squints, Donnie from Virginia, Wolf Magic 21, Doogie, Andy Hudson, Wolfgang Darren, G9PSX, Mike Maloney, Ryan Kinchin, Zane Donovan, Morgan, A-Town, JSK Fusick, Aaron Lawson, Scott Brooks, No One Cares, Dave Thompson, Angry Ticks, Lil Bunny Fufu 89, Eldest Millennial, Jordan, Andrew Wright, Chris Fleury, Dissect That Dan, Jort King, Keegs, J Nasty 15, Sharonic, and Make You Mellow Magic Money. Dude, when I do these in newest to oldest, the back like 50 is like trying to say the alphabet in reverse because I've said those so many times. That fucks with your head. It's like brushing your teeth with the wrong hand. Take an eye out. Anyways, take it easy, everybody. Go Rays, go. Talk to you guys later. Cheers.